Hey guys, now that we got supply and demand curves down, it's time to combine them into one graph. Alright, so let's go. Basically the same graph again. You always have quantity on the x-axis, and you're going to have price on the y-axis. I always abbreviate them like that. Then, remember the demand curve was this one, it's downward sloping, while supply curve is up here. So here's how you decrypt this. Where supply and demand intersect, you find the market equilibrium quantity and the price equilibrium. So price of equilibrium is called the market equilibrium price. This is wherever supply and demand intersect, which is right here. You're going to draw a line both down to quantity and to the left to the price, to the y-axis. That'll indicate the market equilibrium price, which is PE, and it'll show you the market equilibrium quantity, which is right here. So what that means is this is the price that will be charged for that product, and this is how much of that product will be produced. Why? Because that's where the most people will agree to buy it, and most sellers will agree to sell it for. So that's pretty simple, right? So now let's get to how these curves move and how prices will change. So what that is, it's called the price determinants. The determinants of demand and supply. First, let's do demand. It's simpler. Okay, the price determinants of demand. There's a handy acronym to remember. It's called TRIBE. Okay, first, taste and expectations. Two, price of related goods. So that's the R right there. That's T here, R there. Income. Amount of buyers. And lastly, future expectations. Right. So here's what that all means. Let's do one by one. Okay, first of all is T, which is taste and expectations. What that means is, first of all, is something you like and is something your friends like, is the word around that it's a good product and that'll convince you to buy it. For example, there's a study is released that carrots improve your vision. So that makes you think, oh, carrots are great, I should buy some. That's your taste part. And your expectations part is that it'll improve your vision. So what you expect a product to be, if you expect it to be good, then demand will increase to right here. Demand 1. It's going to increase if you expect it to be good. If you expect the product to be bad, so let's say they say a recent factory problem led 80% of all cat food right now to be poisonous. That'll make bad expectations, and demand will decrease because you're not going to want to buy poisonous cat food. Okay. Next is the price of related goods. This one's the trickiest one of all of these. Related goods are either a substitute or a complement. Okay, think about a substitute. What can you substitute for a certain product? For example, if the price of pork goes up, what's something you could substitute pork for if you don't want to buy pork now? Instead, you can eat beef. So, if the price of pork goes up, price of pork, PP, goes up, that means people will not want pork as much, and they'll want more beef. So demand for beef will increase. Just think about this in terms of common sense. If pork is more expensive, what are you going to do? You're going to buy more beef. You're going to demand more, demand curve increases. Okay. Complement, on the other hand, are things that go together, like peanut butter and jelly. If the price of peanut butter goes up, then you're going to want less peanut butter, and you're going to want less jelly because usually you use those two together. So if the price of peanut butter goes up, demand for jelly will go down, because now that you want less peanut butter, you're going to want less jelly too. If the price of peanut butter decreases, that means you can buy more, you're going to want more jelly too, and the demand for jelly will increase. So that's that. And by the way, when you move these curves, D1 and S, you're going to want to do this again, and that's going to find your new prices. So now you're going to have P1 and Q1. So now, look at that. When the demand increases, your price increases, and your quantity increases. Interesting, right? So what happens when the demand decreases? Let's look at that. There's a decrease in demand. Let's draw. Okay, so the quantity decreases, and so does the price. Because if less people want it, then the firms have to charge a lower price to get people to actually buy it. And since we don't want it, we're not going to pay as much for it as we would before. Next, income. Really simple. If you have more money, you're going to buy more, demand increases. If you have less money, you can buy less, your demand decreases. Very simple. With something associated with income is called inferior and normal goods. Let me explain. Let me just erase this complements substitutes thing down here so I can have a little bit of space. Okay, so normal and inferior goods. Normal good, inferior good. A normal good is you'll buy more if your income increases. And an inferior good is you'll buy less when your income increases. So an example of inferior good is like the cup of soup. It's like 13 cents, those noodles. You just pour into boiling water. Since you have more income, you can buy higher quality food, and you're going to buy less of that. It's an inferior good. A normal good is, now that you have more money, you can spend more, you can buy more expensive things, so you can buy normal goods such as go to a restaurant. So instead of eating the inferior food like the noodles, now you can go to a restaurant and have some steak. That's normal good. If you have more money, you'll buy more, and an inferior good is you buy less when you have more money. And obviously, it's also the opposite too. So for normal, you'll buy less when your income decreases, and for inferior, you're going to buy more when your income when your income decreases. So normal, both will either go up and both will either go down, and inferior, one will go down, one will go up always. They'll be opposites. All right, so that's income. B, the amount of buyers. Pretty simple. There's either, so you could have 50 people who want to buy your product, and that'll be, let's say that's D, and now there's 200 people that might be potential buyers. Chances are, out of those 200 people, some are going to want your product, so demand will increase, because now there's more people that could buy the product. If those 50 people, some of them left completely, and now there's only 20 people that might be able to buy our product, not all of them will want it, and demand will decrease. So, more buyers, demand increases. Less buyers, demand decreases. Future expectations. This one's pretty simple too. Think about this in terms of price of gasoline. If the price of gasoline increases, like I did right there with the arrow, if it's going to increase in the future, if somebody estimates it's going to increase in the future by a lot, you can be like, oh, if it's going to increase a lot, I should buy now. So the demand for gasoline right now is going to increase. But if somebody says the price of gasoline is going to decrease really soon, you're not going to want to buy the gas now, right, at the higher price, so you're going to wait, so the demand will decrease. There's going to be less demand right now, because in the future, the price is going to be lower, you're going to want to buy in the future. That's why demand decreases. Alright, I'm going to talk about the supply determinants in the video below, so keep on watching.